皆さん、こんにちは。みみるです。You've seen it, you've felt it. We're all living through this absolutely massive explosion in AI and digital services. I mean, it's changing everything, right? But here's the thing. To power this revolution, we have to completely rethink the invisible stuff, the infrastructure that actually runs our world. And for Japan, this isn't just some tech upgrade. No, this is a national mission.
So that leads us to the big question we're tackling today. To build the kind of future it's dreaming of, Japan is up against a truly monumental challenge. It's a problem that demands a radical new partnership between two giants that, honestly, have always lived in separate worlds: energy and data. And you know, what's at stake here is just incredible. We're talking about a future completely driven by AI. Think about smart farms that can feed the whole country, surgeons operating on patients from hundreds of miles away, and cars that drive themselves, making our cities way safer. This isn't sci-fi anymore. This is the future being built as we speak, and every single bit of it depends on the foundation that we're laying down right now.
But there's always a but, isn't there? All this amazing progress has a hidden cost, a massive challenge that's hiding just under the surface. This is the other side of that AI boom, and it's a problem of hitting some very real, very hard physical limits. Let's just boil it down to the simplest facts. The whole AI revolution, everything digital we do, it all runs on data centers. And these data centers are, well, incredibly thirsty. They crave one thing above all else: electricity. And we're talking about an enormous, totally unprecedented amount of it.
Okay, now this slide, this really tells the story. It shows you the two sides of the coin. On the left, yeah, that's the cool, complex AI brain doing its thing. But look over at the bar chart on the right. That's the price tag. Each one of those bars is a year, and the height is the power needed. And you'll notice that's not a gentle sloping hill. Those are massive, sudden jumps, like climbing a staircase made of cliffs. This isn't just a prediction, it's a ticking clock. The demand for power is growing way faster than our ability to supply it.
So here's the bottom line. We've got a massive bottleneck on our hands. You can't just snap your fingers and build a new power plant or a new transmission line. That stuff takes years. And that delay is a direct threat to Japan's entire economic future, to its ability to compete and lead in this new digital age.
So how in the world do you solve a problem this fundamental? Well, Japan's answer is a bold national strategy, a whole new way of thinking about how to build the future. It's called watt-bit collaboration.
The best way to think about it is like city planning, but for the digital world. For the very first time, the folks who build the power grids, the watts, are in the same room planning with the folks who build the communication networks, the bits. They're talking to each other from day one. And the whole goal is to build the country's digital foundation, but to do it fast, do it smart, and do it super efficiently.
And the strategy rolls out in three pretty clear phases. First, squeeze every last drop of potential out of what's already there. Second, go big and build huge new hubs of digital power. And third, the long game, create a much smarter, more spread out network that can weather any storm and covers the whole country. That's the roadmap we're going to follow.
All right, so let's jump into part one of the plan, the stuff that needs to happen right away. How can Japan get more of these power-hungry data centers online now, without having to wait years and years for new power plants to get built?
And this is where it gets really clever. Instead of letting data centers pop up randomly wherever they want, the government started publishing these things called welcome zone heat maps. You can see one for the Tokyo area right here. See those blue spots? That's where the power grid already has extra capacity, just sitting there, unused. It's a simple idea, but it's powerful. Let's guide the data centers to where the power is already waiting for them.
The benefit is just immediate. It's so practical. By building in these pre-approved zones, companies can literally skip years of construction delays, of navigating red tape for new power lines. It's all about moving smarter and a whole lot faster. Okay, so finding power is one piece of the puzzle, but you also need super fast data pipes to go with it. And this diagram shows the old way versus the new way perfectly. Look at that top path. It's just inefficient. Data is constantly being switched from a light signal to an electrical signal and back again. Every single one of those conversions is like a little speed bump that slows things down and wastes energy. But the bottom path, that's a whole different story. It's called the All Photonics Network, or APN, and you can basically think of it as a data superhighway with no stoplights. It keeps the signal as pure light from start to finish. What that means is it's insanely fast, it uses way less power, and this is the really cool part, it lets a bunch of data centers that are miles apart work together like they're one single giant supercomputer. This technology is an absolute game changer.
So, with those short-term fixes getting put into motion, the vision gets even bigger. Now we're shifting gears to look at the really ambitious, future-shaping part of the strategy. We're moving from just making the old stuff better to building something entirely new.
And this is what that future looks like. We are talking about gigantic, gigawatt-scale data center hubs. Kind of like Data Center Alley out in Virginia in the US, or these huge campuses you see in China and Brazil. Japan's plan is to build several of these massive, concentrated hubs from the ground up.
So you might be asking, why put them all together in one place? Well, the logic is actually pretty solid. It's way more efficient to build all the power and communication lines for one huge area. It creates this digital ecosystem that just kickstarts economic growth, makes maintenance way easier, and can even help with regional disaster response. It just makes sense.
But here is the most profound long-term shift in thinking, and you can see it perfectly on this map. The big plan is to move away from the model you see on the left, where all the critical infrastructure is dangerously packed into a few big cities, and move toward the model on the right, a distributed, resilient network that stretches across the entire country.
And the why behind this is just so important. I mean, putting everything in Tokyo or Osaka is a huge risk, especially in a country that deals with natural disasters. Spreading the infrastructure out doesn't just make Japan safer and more resilient, it also brings the jobs, the money, and the opportunities of the digital age to every single region of the country.
So, let's zoom out for a second. What does this all add up to in the end? Because this isn't just a technical blueprint for laying down cables and building servers. It's about connecting every wire and every bit of data back to a vision for a better society.
Hey, remember this slide from the beginning? Now, with everything we've talked about, it makes so much more sense. With a distributed network, a local data center really becomes the beating heart of a community. It can connect local universities, help automate local factories, and power all kinds of new AI services just for that region. This is what they're calling Regional Revitalization 2.0, using digital tools to create real jobs and real innovation locally.
And this image just illustrates the ultimate goal so beautifully. A sustainable, circular digital economy. Just imagine it, local data centers being powered by local solar and wind farms, all stitched together by that super efficient APN network. It's a system where energy and information are created and used right there in the same place, building a truly green and incredibly resilient digital society.
And that brings us right back to where we started, but now with a completely new perspective. This watt-bit revolution, it isn't just a technical plan. It's a blueprint for the country's entire future. So the real question we're left with isn't if this fusion of power and data will reshape Japan, but just how profoundly it's going to transform every single part of society in the decades ahead.
このチャンネルが興味深いと思った方はチャンネル登録といいねボタンをよろしく。